What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the podcast. We have a guest in studio.
Whoop, whoop.
But not yet.
Oh, I'm
Before
sorry.
we get to
I was
that,
excited.
before we get to that, we got some announcements to make. Arien, if you will.
So the first one, we want to remind you guys, in about 4 weeks or so, we're going to be in Anderson, South Carolina for our retreat, October 2nd through the 5th. It's a Thursday through Sunday. If you get an email or see anything with other dates, just ignore it. The dates are October 2nd through October 5th. That is the correct dates. You have the right flights. Don't worry. You did a good job. But if you don't have your tickets, go ahead and get your tickets. There's only just a couple remaining, and we're going to have a great time. If you want any details on the event, you can go to seer.school and see all of that there.
Yeah, if you'd like to kick it with the Mystic, we would love to have you there. We're going to be doing a concert, sound bath, sound healing, very relaxing. We're going to be spending some time in nature. Our good friend Nicholas Hubbard's going to be there leading Prophetic Frenzy. What is that about? We're going to find out together, but I know it's going to be ecstatic. It's going to be bliss, and it's going to be refreshing. So if you're looking for this pivotal moment in your life to reset, to refresh, and to renew, these events are the best place to do that. That's why we started doing them personally for ourselves, and we just invite our friends with us. So we'd love to see you there in Anderson, South Carolina. Without further ado, we're going to welcome our good friend, Drew Gower, to the podcast. He's at my house. What's up?
What? What's
There
up,
he
buddy?
is.
How are you?
Hey, man, we go back.
We go way back. Yeah,
We,
I'm definitely thankful.
Let me see what I can say. So, Drew, if I can give you like a formal introduction of who you are to me, you're a good friend. We've met years ago, probably at a concert, right? We was
Yeah.
in the local metal scene,
Yep.
and you was in Master's Commission, and every now and then somebody would get a wild hair and take the youth from Master's Commission to a concert because there was a Christian rock band performing.
For sure.
And we met there. Sometimes you guys would have to leave if a secular band played.
That's right. Or if there was any kind of swearing or anything, absolutely.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
I was swearing.
Yeah.
He's that rapper in skinny jeans up there playing the guitar.
Yeah, that was wild. What is that, 20 years now? Almost, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
23 years. I do remember that, just going to those shows, meeting kids, and I know that's where you and I met. Just kind of like hit it off right away, just through love of music and love of God, and kind of been in each other's lives ever since. So it's been an honor.
Mm-hmm. Been friends ever since. You'd come to. I mean, we're friends. You would come to prayer meetings that we'd host. You'd come to Bible studies. You'd come to birthday parties. We formed a band together. Prayers Fly Like Bullets, which was a short-lived, amazing time.
Yeah,
a
some good
lot of
times.
fun. That we had like a rap core band.
Yeah, it was really, really good times. I was talking to Arien earlier about some of those times, and she was just like, man, I don't even remember some of that. It feels like a lifetime ago. And just, from the time that you and I met and the journeys that we've kind of like gone through, and, the things that we've experienced up to this point, we could write a whole slew of books, just from life experience and growing older with each other, our families, our wives, God, you name it. It's been a wild ride.
Mm-hmm. So we'll say that, like, with my journey, where I've been from in this life, and being in a band with you, and being a gospel rapper, and just kind of coming into my own over the years, and what ministry looked like, what music would look like, in lieu of awakening, and expansion of beliefs and heart expansion. It begins to look a lot different than what we thought it would look like. And I want to say that you've been in my corner as a friend over the years, encouraging me no matter where I was, just kind of always in my ear, letting me know that I was on the right path, and just little timely words of encouragement that's kind of kept me looking in the right direction. So I want to say thank you, and you've definitely sowed into me and my family tremendously over the years by just always being there, being a friend for me, and whether it was, you moved away, it was still always little texts. You're always watching, always letting me know that I was up next. My turn was coming,
It
and it
is. Yep.
came, and it's here. And you know what I'm saying? So thank you for believing in me, you know.
For
And
sure.
even though you're not, in the band and doing music and stuff, you just believed in me.
Yeah.
And I believe in you. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Of course, dude. Like I said, it's an honor just knowing you and your family. Like, watching Vay grow up and all that. Neve, his daughter, but just through the everything, and I could say, the exact same thing and piggyback off of everything that you just said. But I agree 100%. I don't believe anything happens just because, and you know, when you say that, like, you take everything with saying that, the good, the bad, and everything that comes in your way. But your family has been like a really firm foundation in our family's lives for many years, and I'm amazed at what God has done in my life through you and your life. But he's not over. I was telling you that this morning, like, everything that we've learned up to this point, and everything that God has given us, like, it's just in preparation for what's next. Our best days are truly ahead of us. Um, Goals, hopes, dreams. God knows every one of them. He's heard every one of them, and whether or not we even notice them, He notices them too.
Mm-hmm.
And He'll even answer the prayers we don't ask sometimes. So, yeah, it's a huge blessing.
Yeah. You put out a book, man, shoot. Time is something. What, 2017? Everything happened in 2017. That's
Yeah.
We always go back to that date. I
Yeah.
don't know. You put out a book then.
Yeah.
Um, it was regarding your weight loss journey and just life and depression. And you got to meet Diamond Dallas Page,
Yeah.
DDP Yoga, and he flew you out. And this is wild, wild life.
Yeah, it definitely, even that experience feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I went through a great change around 2017, put the book out. I know you and I were kind of like collabing for a little bit, regarding that. You helped me out tremendously through that whole process as well, like with the book and getting it out there and everything else. And, just a huge encouragement in that area too. But, even with that, like, when I wrote that book, it was almost like, felt like I was writing like an autobiography. Like, it wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. And even now, as I look at my life and through the things that I've gone through and learned through that experience, and even it's still continuing, like, to learn today, like, it's this big process from something that we can't see the finish line to, but it's there. And whether or not we have the light to be able to continue more, like, moving forward, or I tell myself all the time, like, well, if God opens the door, well, like, I've learned that whether or not God opens that door, like, in your life, you just keep walking anyway, for sure. So,
Yeah, it's crazy what we were talking about. Like, the past, it doesn't really exist, only in memory, right? And the future doesn't really exist, only in your hopes, or, on the counter side, your worries and your anxieties. And all we have is right now in the present, and kind of just confirms that narrative that all of these lifetimes that it feels like we've lived in the past. I feel like I've lived so many lives already in this one lifetime, in this one body. But there's been so many different versions of myself. And I guess the goal would be just to try to hold on to the lessons and the good stuff and take it into the next chapter,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard because you always are like haunted by the better version. And sometimes in your head, it's like, 6 years ago, or that was 3 years ago, or however long. It's like, man, that was my peak. Like, that was peak. But it's like, what, it's interesting because if we go back there, we still had so many flaws and those kind of things, right? And there's things of character flaws and things you did that was stupid that you never do now, right?
Sure.
So it's like,
absolutely,
the journey has still prepared you. So like, to look back and fantasize about what was, what you had, that, because seasons change,
Yeah.
and a lot of people do that. They get stuck, especially with in Christianity or a relationship with God. I used to pray more. I used to worship with all my might. I used to dance before God. Wish I still had that innocence and stuff.
Mhm.
But there were still things in you that weren't good that God has been working out in this process. So I think it's healthy to look ahead, but sometimes it could be hard when we've lived so many different lives. It feels like, right? Because we've
Right.
been so many places and so many ventures and stuff like that. But to keep looking forward, sometimes it's hard to be optimistic
Yeah.
because you romanticize about the past. So I think what I'm trying to say is, try to romanticize about the future and
100%.
what can be. Because if you're able to see it, make those changes, and you're able to bring it into the now moment. And
Right.
that's something that a lot of people struggle with. We've all struggled with that.
I mean, the hardest thing I think for anybody is to forgive themselves,
Yeah.
Like regret is such a double-edged sword in your life. If you allow it to be like, it'll truly like disable you and it'll keep you from going into that next step. If you continue to compare yourself to a different version of yourself, who honestly, like, whether or not um, that version probably wasn't your best version either. In fact, I could probably guarantee you it wasn't. It might look to you that way because, man, we were doing this and
I
we
got
were doing
pictures.
that, and
I
I
definitely
look,
looked the
yeah,
best. I
like,
was in shape, but
yeah, absolutely.
but still, the pictures don't speak about what was going on
That guy
internally.
was lacking. That guy
Yeah.
wasn't good to his wife. That guy wasn't had no patience with his kid, with his kids. Um, that guy was very egotistical, something which isn't really a trait of mine, but I allowed it to be. And you know, that's I think the biggest battle is number one, forgiving yourself, but also allowing yourself the courage to keep moving and figure out the rest of it. Uh, not to be bogged down by what could have or should have happened, but it did happen. I'm going to do my best to learn from it and be better because of it. Because that's what not only everybody around me deserves, but that's what I deserve. I deserve love. I deserve acceptance. I mean, if we offered ourselves the same love and forgiveness that we offer others, I mean, we'll truly change ourselves from the inside out.
That's good.
Yeah. I saw a really cool saying. I think it was just like a meme on Facebook or something, but it said, you've got to stop comparing yourself to others, or in this case, even former versions of yourself, because flowers are beautiful and sunsets are beautiful, and neither one looks anything like the other.
Right.
So I think that we can find beauty in all of our experiences, and it comes down to a word that has been a little hard for me to learn in the past 2 years is integration, right? Like, we have these insane highs with God in the spirit and insane moments where like we're walking through Greece just thinking, oh my God, I can't believe we're here, super high moments. And then you have moments where you're struggling to, pay the bills and you don't know where the next, finances are coming from. And it looks a little bleak. And just being able to balance and integrate all of it and still trust God through the process and trust that, God never leaves us or forsakes us. In the bad moments, he's there in the good. Jesus himself said, if you make your bed in hell, like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So just to know, like, life is like a roller coaster. You have highs and lows, but God and Jesus, they're there with you through it all. And being able to integrate it all into yourself and just absorb it into the now and into the person that you are today.
Right.
Forgiving yourself is definitely, I think, the hardest part.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's why we are commanded to love your neighbor as yourself. It's easier to love your neighbor for some reason.
Yeah.
But we have to learn how to truly love ourselves, even in our mess, and love that version of ourselves, because they were doing the best they could with the tools they had,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where like your walk with God, where did that start? Like how old were you to even want to go to like a master's commission and stuff like that as a teenager?
So, honestly, I was raised in church. My parents both went to Bible college. They, I think, like most of us, thought that they were created to change the world. Um, we have this burning desire in us to like change everything around us and change the world once we become a Christian. And ultimately, God just wants to change us. And I think if He does that, everything else will uh, change through us and
Mm-hmm.
to us. But I was raised in church, all the way through. Went to Christian school and did everything I think Christians think you should do as far as growing up in church, doing all the right things, um, going to youth group. Um, not quite understanding it, even from a big adult standpoint now, looking back on it, really dealing with deep things that I didn't really understand, like the idea of heaven and hell at 5 years old, trying to make friends with God by asking Him to turn my bedroom light off, and um, you know, not having this great understanding, but knowing that I had to believe in it. And some of that, even now, I think as we get older, as Christians, we deconstruct a little bit and really look into, okay, now who really was Jesus in my life? Because ultimately, like, you know, growing up in church, you get fed all these legalisms and laws and things like that. Like, it's important to do this, important to do that, that we lose track and sight of who Jesus really wanted us to be. Love and compassion for our neighbors, like we were, saying earlier. Um, but ultimately, I wanted to serve God because I saw my parents do it religiously. I saw the sacrifices that they made. Um, I saw and like knew what it really meant to um, lay your life down for what you believed in, physically, mentally, financially, all of that, and not ask for anything in return. So, with that, I definitely credit my parents. Um, going to Bible college, I mean, that was through youth group. We were going to the Brownsville Revival for many years back when it was really popular. I was
Back
really
before they
involved.
lost the anointing.
Yeah,
No, I'm
before
joking.
it went away. Yeah. Um, honestly, that whole revival, even years after it went away, it was like they were trying to create something that had left the building years ago. Um,
As
you
humans
know,
do.
yeah, that's what we do. Just hoping God will be
Or
there.
it's catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but ultimately through the revival, our youth group went quite a few times, and that's where I was called to the ministry. I do believe that was, one of the few times in my life that I know that like God spoke to me. Like this was
Yeah.
something I knew I had to do.
Well,
And
you got saved at a Toby Mac
I,
concert, right?
I did. I did.
Heard his testimony in it.
Man, it just changed my world from the ground up.
It's an inside
Um,
joke, guys.
yeah.
We always joke. You may hear a couple inside jokes.
Toby Mac.
We may try to backtrack and tell you what it means if we can, but yeah, it was
Right.
an inside joke.
But yeah, man, ultimately, and looking back even on that whole situation, I mean, with different color glasses on, you can make anything out of that. If you have any kind of experience, you can look at the good or you can look at the bad, and you
Mm-hmm.
can choose what you're going to take away from that. And ultimately, I mean, I met my wife through that whole situation. Like, I saw the world. God did things inside of me that, even to this day, like, I'm amazed by, and things for me as well. Like, um, I became a man, and not because I turned a certain age, but because God showed me who He wanted me to be, and that's who I became through it. So, you
When you
know,
was in Master's Commission, y'all did what did y'all mainly do? Human videos.
so I mean, Master's Commission itself is it's a 9 month discipleship program, but basically what it is hands-on ministry. So you lay down 9 months of your life. You said, okay, God, I'm going to give this year to you. You go away to a Bible program. Everybody's there is, in your age ish. and it's college age, 18 to 25 ish. But ultimately, you're laying that year down. You go to a lot of like missionary trips, things like that. A lot of church services, school assemblies. I don't know if you're familiar like with the power team or things
Mm-hmm.
like that, but we would do, feats of power and in
You
public
so
school
you were
settings.
ripping phone books back
Yes,
in.
sir.
You did.
Yeah, well, I never did the phone books, but like the bed of
Broke the
nails.
chains.
Yeah,
Oh, bed and nails. So you
yeah,
did that.
absolutely.
Nice.
Bed of nails, breaking bricks, things like that.
Yeah. Bottles like
Yeah,
those prop bottles over your
water
head.
bottles, yeah, blow them up.
Really?
Yeah,
Dang.
absolutely.
Hey, we have one
No,
here.
I'm good. I'm good. No.
There was a trick to it. Sleight of hand.
Well, they always rubbed them on the cinder blocks. So
Oh, really? Made them
yeah,
thin,
yeah, they'd gimmick them up. Yeah.
and they would blow up like pop. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang.
But
Kids falling out
oh
either
man, we had
either
some.
from exhaustion or the glory. We don't know.
All right, quick. I have to tell the story. So the first time,
He fell out. What is it?
I want to say it was MGM, school assembly. We did here in Alabama. But we did a school assembly, and it was my first time ever breaking bricks. And they had them like set up on these cinder blocks, and it was a forearm break. So you just bring your forearm over it, you hit them, and that's that. Everybody goes nuts. That was my first time with this new program. It was the one I met my wife in, and this guy behind me, the director, he goes, make some noise when you break the bricks, get real loud. And I was like, okay. Well, unbeknownst to me, about 2 weeks before we had showed up, they had put a brand new gymnasium floor in this gym, um, and that's where we were doing the breaks on. They had pulled out all these tarps and mats and everything, and they're like, okay, use these. Well, my break was right in the front center, and so it came time for me to break, and they did the countdown, 3, 2, 1, and I come down and I hit them, and I break them all, and I did everything I was supposed to, except he got me all amped up, and I'm all excited. So I pick up both of the front bricks, and I just throw them. And I just bounced. And as soon as I started to bounce, everybody was going nuts. As soon as it started to bounce, everybody went silent, and you could literally just hear go boom, 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 all the way down the
Scratching
floor,
up the floor.
all the way down the basketball floor.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness! Like I'll never forget that.
Mm.
The director behind me was like, "Go grab him, go grab him." He got all upset.
Mm. Did you have a headband on when you did that?
No,
Oh,
no.
I could just see you with
No,
like
never.
a shirt headband tied around your head. Aya!
Probably should have though. The Rex
Like the
Kwon Do
Karate
pants.
Kid.
Yeah, Karate
Yeah.
Kid. Rex Taekwondo.
Rex Kwon Do
Hoya!
pants.
Jesus.
Yeah.
We watched a documentary recently. If you haven't seen it, you may want to.
Oh, yeah.
It would probably resonate with you for real. What was the name of it?
It's about teen mania.
Teen Mania.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's
Choir the Fire and all
Yep,
that.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it was showing it from like
A different perspective.
Oh, there's always
yeah
a
behind
different-
the scenes
yeah.
perspective, and then what the kids really went through, and some of the human videos got to where like the kids playing Jesus were like really getting punched, and we're telling them like, hey, I want to go through what he went through, and I want you to they talk about like getting just going through it was like hell, to
Yeah.
play the part of Jesus. And then when they got real militant, like in the end they would like do like military training with the kids to be militant, like a soldier for God,
Right.
warrior for God. It's pretty wild.
There's a real big military type stigma with the whole Christian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when I was a kid, they did the I'm in the Lord's army,
Mhm.
I mean, little girls like I may never shoot the artillery and all that kind of stuff. And you think about some of those words, it's like, wow, it's like there's a lot of deeper explanation behind what we're actually
Yeah.
singing,
Yeah, it looked like it changed and got a lot more serious like around 9/11,
Yeah.
like more militant and war focused and stuff, and protecting and standing up for the gospel. And even like I think Columbine and stuff like that like kind of changed that, and it almost like they capitalized off of these events to hype the people up and get the people to rally behind, I guess, an enemy, if you will, or something like, we're going to be warriors for God because there's a real enemy out there, kind of thing. But it's an interesting documentary.
That's crazy. I would have to to watch it. My brother actually went to quite a few of those Choir of the Fire conferences.
We watched them on TV a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I liked them.
conflicting to watch it as a parent because when we were young, like around the age of 20 and, very much into all that and Fox's Book of Martyrs and like we were raised up like, what an honor to die for your faith, like it would be scary, but yeah, I'm ready to do it. But then as a parent watching these teenagers saying that they wanted to die for their faith and stuff, it's a little different and it's kind of scary. It's almost like, it almost felt like they were all brainwashed.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, that was me. And I surely I
wanna be a
wasn't
martyr. Yeah.
brainwashed,
Yeah. We're looking at it from a different lens.
Yeah,
Like,
for
those,
sure.
those kids are lost. It was like, hey, you were one of those kids,
I mean,
It's
they
weird.
glorified it for a while. I remember like the Jesus Freak books where
Yes.
they would have like stories and stuff
Yep.
of Christian martyrism and things like that. Like it was really glorified.
Mm-hmm.
And not that that's there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like your first aspiration as a follower of Jesus shouldn't be to want to go ahead and die for him right away, right? Like I want to live for him.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that was always with me. Is like that thing because a lot of the people who said they will die for the faith, and it's like you won't even live for it.
exactly.
So how about if we get the living part down? Then it's a no-brainer that we would probably die for it, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. I always looked at it
Absolutely.
that way.
That's wild.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about that, especially with deconstruction or whatever. It's like you hear stories, which I didn't grow up in that, that came, 17 years old maybe, getting into that kind of youth group stuff like that. But you hear the stories of the kids who did and hear these horror stories of like them coming home from school early and the mom and dad aren't there and their brothers and sisters aren't there and they're the only one there, thinking that the rapture happened, and they kind of go into panic mode thinking that they've been left behind because that whole propaganda Christian with those movies and stuff, like you said, like 5 years old, like wondering if I die,
Yeah.
if the devil's gonna keep me for all eternity and stuff at 5 years old.
It's wild that you even brought that up. I mean, I have a vivid memory of maybe when I was 6 or 7, and we were in a grocery store. I was with my mom, and I lost my mom. I couldn't find her. Went down up every aisle, up and down the store. Couldn't find her. Couldn't figure out where she was. I remember like having this uncontrollable anxiety and like crying. Like the rapture came and they took my mom and dad, and like that's what was going through my head. Like this is what's going on. Like, and I wasn't good enough to go to heaven, and now I gotta go to hell, and
Mm-hmm.
my parents are gone. Like, um, I mean, those were very, very real, like, things to deal with at a 5 to 6 year old, like, being able to contemplate that and think about that and work through that, like, in your head, and try to understand that as far as like who you are as a Christian, and you're supposed to do these things, but that's wild, man. That's wild for sure.
Yeah, check out the documentary. It may bring back some.
Yeah,
May be traumatic for you to watch, to be
it
honest
might
with
be.
you.
It might
Yeah,
be.
I think a lot of the people who came out of it ended up like speaking out against it, or like trying to say that it was wrong, or some of the things that we're doing aren't right, and then the pushback that they got from
Right.
people to silence them and stuff, which only made it, it only made it worse
Right.
and kind of validated what kind of stuff that was going on in some of those programs.
There was another one not too long ago that my parents had watched, and it was called Let Us Pray, and it was about the independent fundamental Baptist movement.
It was the one from
Hyles Anderson.
no, it was the VeggieTales one.
Okay.
Let us. It was a play on lettuce.
Okay.
Let us pray.
Okay.
Lettuce.
Let us.
Let us pray. It was a bad joke.
Oh,
Terrible.
I got you.
It was a good.
I was.
Let
I was
us
like, where's he
pray.
going with it?
Hey, I mean, it's an idea.
No.
It may be an episode.
Probably.
We'll roll with it.
Let us pray.
But yeah, it was another one of those, just documentary, like real life what things that actually happened in the independent Baptist movement, which got real big like around the late 60s, early 70s. It's actually the same college that my parents met at, but just a lot of things that were going on there, like through things being covered up and just trauma from the church, and talk about reliving some things that were like, you know, I remember one of the big things that they talked about was this sermon that the main pastor had preached. His name was Jack Hiles, and he ran the Christian college there called Hiles Anderson University. But he had this message to where he brought um, one of his deacons on stage, and he was like, "Here, drink that." He's like, "This is poison. It's arsenic." He had big X's on the glass. He said, "If I asked you to drink this, would you drink it for me?" And the guy said, he smiled at him at first, and the pastor was like, "No, I'm serious. I want you to drink it." He was like, "This will kill you, but I think you should drink it." Um, he asked the guy outright, "If I asked you to drink it, would you?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And he goes, and he pretty much proved his point is these people are loyal to me as their pastor, their shepherd. And in so many ways, it kind of just um, proved his control over what he had created, which was that movement, the independent fundamental Baptist movement. Uh,
Mm.
and even years down the road, so many, um, openly known accusations for things like covering up, SA for children, and just all kinds of really, really horrible things. Um, the idea of moving pastors around from one place to the other, like that really didn't come from the Catholic Church. They got that from the
Yeah.
same, methods that this church, that
'Cause
this,
most of them are family members
yeah,
and cousins and stuff anyway.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just wild, man. The whole doctrinization and the whole idea of just deconstructing as a whole, for Christians moving away from trauma, and that's why it kind of circles back to what we were talking about before, just the idea of letting go of regret and this idea of who we were, because ultimately, whether or not we were doing right, we were doing the best we knew how or could at the time.
You try your best to take the
Yeah,
good from it,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
obviously there's tons of bad, and it's worth talking about. You're kind of like one of them if you don't talk about it.
Right.
Oh yeah, we can't talk about what Pastor did. They told us he's a man of God. We can't talk about see them, kiss this little girl on the cheek or something. It's like we can't talk about it. It's between him and God, and he's
Right.
like a father to her. And that's conditioning. So where you
Yeah.
don't talk about it, I don't know if that's right. I don't know
Yeah.
if a father kisses his daughter that way. It just, and if you try to talk, so if we can't talk to each other, then you trained to tell on me,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
pastor pull you to the side and choke you out up against the wall. Like, we had don't know our friend. I think he deserved that though.
Oh my
He got
goodness.
choked out by the youth pastor. We're not going to talk.
Oh goodness. Oh, I do remember.
Another
Okay. All right.
inside
I know what you're
joke.
talking about.
Another inside joke. Yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about art, just because I haven't been able to pick your brain to see if there's anything with this. Because you do write a lot. You write a lot of music. You played in bands. We played in bands together, and worship. You led worship and things like that. You write a lot of poetry.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about if there is a process on how you write or what inspires you, like because
Um.
because like your poetry is really good,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that stuck out to me was the when you went to, I believe it was Atlanta, to DDP yoga, and you met Diamond Dallas Page. They did like a whole feature on you and your story,
Mhm.
and it had commentary and voiceover work that you did, and a lot of it was poetic sounding,
Right.
and it sounded like something that you needed to write and that you maybe read out of a book or had prepared, or a teleprompter,
Yeah.
and you were just coming off the top of the dome on these really poetic words. Like,
Yeah. I
how
think
does
they
that?
gave. I think they gave me 90 seconds for that. They were like,
Yeah, and I was like, he had to write this or something. It was
no,
like,
I
no, it was
just
just
ultimately it was just inspiration. Most of the time when I do write, it's always inspired from something. I like to be, uh, you know, a little bit out there as far as like, delving and diving into different experiences and feelings about things that I question about myself. I have a lot of insecurities. I try to show that I don't, but I do. And sometimes the things I'm insecure about are just because I don't ask the right questions. I don't ask the right questions about myself. Uh, I'm not right. I'm not finding the right answers in life, whether me or, things going on around me. I'm not finding the right answers because I'm not asking the right questions. Um, instead of asking why me, ask why not me. When you start asking why not me, you're opening doors for other things in your life too, like uh, things that you didn't feel like you could ever accomplish, or situations in your life to where you're not questioning yourself or um, wondering where this extra finance is going to come from because it's already taken care of. Because I asked why not me instead of why me. And I don't know, a lot of it comes from inspiration. Ultimately, like I try to be as positive as I can be when I do create, but a lot of it's brokenhearted. And I think that's normal. I think that's, at least I know what it is. And I feel like, by expressing myself and being outward and open with it, um, when I do get hit by life, at least I know who's punching me. So I can deal with it and uh, be more constructive with it, if that makes sense.
Hmm. What was your fascination with Ryan Cabrera?
I actually saw him live. No, I actually did see him live
I
years
know that's
back.
one.
On the way down.
That's a
No,
good
you
song,
know
dude.
what, dude, killed it. I mean, what was that, summer of '98? I'm sorry, I was a TRL kid, so if you don't know what that
Saw
is,
you.
everybody went home and watched TRL for like 2 hours. You watched everything from Britney Spears to Limp Bizkit,
Hmm.
and I got very cultured by Carson Daly and MTV growing up. So no, yeah, I don't know. Ryan Cabrera was cool. It was cool to see him live.
Just messing with you.
Well, before we move on from the poetry thing, I just have to say it's been years ago, but I saw a video of you just doing spoken poetry. I can't remember what music was on it. Do
Yeah, I
you?
think we produced something. He came
Yeah,
over and you had a day of filming and
And you had reshared it or something. But man, just the words that you use and choose to share your thoughts, and even the frequency of your voice, it's this beautiful, authentic gift that you have. And I wanted to encourage you just to keep going with it because there's so much inauthenticity in the world today, and it's so powerful. Even when it is coming from a place of brokenness, sometimes all people need to know is that they're not alone,
right.
And it's
Absolutely.
just so powerful. I loved it.
Well, thank you. I don't think that lightly. Like for real. I mean, we had this conversation earlier about, I was mentioning something you guys had said on the podcast the other day, and you were like, "You really listen?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I listen." And that means the world. We should, as friends, like be each other's biggest cheerleaders for sure. So
hmm yeah, and you're kind of at a crossroads. You feel like that there's a new venture about to start. You have a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, but the thing is how to get them out, how to share them.
right,
It can be overwhelming because there's so many ways and so many things that you can do, but it's like the idea of just getting them out. So definitely find something to do with the poetry. It could
absolutely,
be a book, it can be spoken word, it could be so many different things, but that the biggest thing is just to get it out there. And there's many different avenues is really at this point I think the best because there's are so
unlimited.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unlimited.
But definitely need to hear some more poetry and some more music from you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You as well, buddy.
Well, I,
You
and I
as
and I
well.
showed you how easy it was to record.
Yeah.
It showed you sitting here recording some stuff that we just that Drew wrote that we laid down here
Yeah, that's
earlier.
awesome.
I could see that. I could see you doing that.
You too, buddy. And you're already doing it. You already are. I asked you earlier. I was like, "What's next?" And you're like, "I don't know yet. That'll come in time." I think God looks way more at like our intentions and our heart. Like He cares way more about any of that stuff than anything else that we think is important.
Yeah, I think that's
And
where I'm at because
yeah,
I got thousands of ideas, but it's about the why and the how and that kind of thing kind of jumps into the way of like wrestling with it.
right,
Um, and for who, you know, but there's no shortage of ideas with me, but there is shortage of execution. How many songs that don't that we've written that don't get released, and how many poems that you've written that nobody
yeah,
will ever hear. It's kind
absolutely,
of thing is the execution and the why. I think but I do think if you tackle that why, a lot of times that is the motivation to do it and to not stop at any cost. It's
right,
like I'm doing this because of this. If that why is there and it remains pure, it's ageless, it's timeless, and things that we've done or we've created certain songs and music and stuff over the years is definitely captures that. Not just I've been a part of that with my own music, but any art that inspires that comes from a real place, a genuine place, because we know there's top 10 songs and all this stuff that's come out over the last 10 years that came and went and they come and go, but there's still that timeless um, energy that a lot of art was created in, out of real and raw emotions, and a lot of it for a reason, whether the reason was the person's crying out or they just want, they don't want people to feel like they're alone, and to be able to share that art and creativity those ways, they stand the test of time.
right,
So I think that encouraging for you and for anybody listening to do the things that you're called to do,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
nobody else is going to do it for you.
No,
You know,
do that for you because it takes the pressure and everything off of you by putting it out there. Like if you just do it for you and you be creative and you have that outlet, whether or not somebody else it ever makes sense to them, but because you did that, you're gonna grow and you're gonna, be able to continue to move forward because you allowed to let it go. You it went from here to out here, and now it's everything that we needed to do during that point for it to make sense for us. Like we accomplished it. So absolutely, whether or not God ever opens that door, you just keep walking anyway.
Yeah, and to just be encouraged too that if your why seems weird, like I've had dreams and things that weren't like spiritual in nature. It was like to get this certain plant and plant it in the yard, or to purchase this item, and it, God just is the perfect orchestrator of all of these things in our lives, that even if you have kind of a something that doesn't seem super spiritual, but you're really passionate or led to do it, just do it and allow God to use that thing to help people, because He can. It doesn't matter what container, what form. It doesn't have to be painting art while the worship band is playing. It doesn't have to be leading a Bible study. All of these things are awesome, but like if your passion is weird or different, God can still use whatever your gift is.
Absolutely,
ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it. That's so funny that's so funny that that whole story that guy was video.
I don't even
Oh
know how to
man,
set
Lou
that up
Lou
for
Engle
people.
back in the house.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. I so I think it was you. I wonder if you remember. Did you had an encounter when you were little, or a teenager, where you was like you drew a circle in the middle of the room and sat in it? That was you, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I don't know. I mean, as a father, your kids grow older and you see so much of yourself in them. Uh, I have full blown adult conversations with my 17 and 14-year-old, and I try to put myself in their shoes, like the things that they're going through and how they feel, and obviously this world that we're living in now is way different than the world that I grew up in. So I try to take everything into account, like try not to be so hard and try to be more loving and try to understand and try to ask the right questions and all of that. But I went through a really, really rough time probably between the age of like maybe 10 and 12. And I remember one time distinctly in this um, experience you're asking about, but we were on our way to church, and I just was brokenhearted. I mean, that's the only way I can ever remember feeling. Um, and I didn't feel like I had a friend in the world, and I felt lost and cold to God and cold to my parents and all alone. And I'm obviously growing with hormones and things like that now. Obviously, it was probably felt like 100 times worse at the time. But I remember just crying on the way to church and um, getting upset with my parents and like annoyed why they were asking me what was wrong and getting upset with them and not being very like closed off to them, not wanting them to know what I was going through. And I remember my dad pulled the car over and he was like, I love you, but he was like, whatever you're dealing with, like this is gonna be something that only you can get out of. um, he said you're the only one that you're gonna be able to pick yourself up. I just remember like him doing his best to encourage me. I remember the last thing he said. He was like, I want to challenge you to do something. Um, he goes, when we get home tonight, before bed, he was like, just sit in the middle of your room, turn your lights off, and he said, draw a circle and just sit in it. And he said, I just want you to pray. Like, you don't have to pray anything fancy. Um, he was like, just pray that before you get up from out of the circle, that God would change you, that God would use you, that God would heal whatever brokenness that you're feeling right now, because He will if you ask Him. 30 something years later, I still cry about it. Um, anyway, that night, I did exactly what He said. And I'd like to tell you that the Holy Spirit met me and I broke out into revival and I was healed completely and never again dealt with like depression and stuff. Like I'd like to tell you that, but what I will tell you is I fell asleep in the prayer circle, and when I woke up the next morning and I was getting ready for school, I kind of realized what had just happened and realized that when I had gotten up, I didn't walk out like I didn't get up with that same burden, that same brokenness I was feeling beforehand. I felt hope. I felt loved. I remember writing my dad a letter and put it in his lunchbox. I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I just remember like pretty much telling him like, "You were right. I love you, Dad."
Hmm. It's awesome, Phil. It's that's the thing about you know we say deconstruction or whatever, or questioning, because it isn't just life a journey of deconstruction and reconstruction and asking questions, but there's those experiences that you've had that just mean the world to you, and nobody can give them to you, and nobody was there, and
Right?
nobody can take it away from you. It's your um, personal story, your um, it's your testimony, and nobody could take that from you. That's why I always honor that, and encourage people to hang on to that, because some people, you could try to explain it away and stuff like that, and maybe that's okay too, but the reasons like why you believe in the kind of God that you believe in,
Yeah,
is that He
absolutely.
meets you wherever you are, and becomes what you need in those moments. And
And how many times since then, I mean, since that little boy, has God just met me where I was? Like, all of us, like, yeah, in that experience, but in so many other ones where it was like, God's here too. You know, God was with me through that experience too. Whether or not I realized it or anything like that.
It's so awesome too when you have those pivotal moments that you can use as markers in your life for when the moments come when you are questioning, like
Right.
what if I didn't hear God, or what if God isn't real, or what if I didn't make the right decision. But then you have these moments you can always go back to, like, no, I'm doing okay. I'm on the
Yeah,
right track and God is with me.
absolutely. I will just say, like, again, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I mean, from knowing you guys from 20 years, like, um, if there's anybody that questions you guys at all, like, you guys are real deal.
there's a lot of people who question us, as you.
Yeah, well,
Every now and then, Drew will
me
pop up in the
too.
comment
People,
section and say, "Hey,
people
it's my
question me all
friend,
the
damn it."
time, Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what friends do. They're there. So,
That's what wives do too.
yeah,
They used, see, I had to kind of get onto her. She's trying to fight the
she's
commenters.
a saint,
But
She,
I don't have any haters. I only have fans in denial.
that's
That's all
right.
that
That's right. I'm the same way, man.
is.
Tasha's the best. So
Yeah.
we're very blessed gentlemen. I mean, as men of God, as fathers, we are very, very, very blessed. So it's been a super honor.
Well, yep. So Drew is down vacationing with his family for
Yes,
a
sir.
week, and so he relocated to the Chicago area, and so maybe once a year they come down here for vacation, and we get to hang out and go to the beach or have dinner or do something. And so we worked on music today and
Yes, sir.
and did a podcast and got to fellowship and catch up. Man, I'm glad you were able to stop by.
For sure. The best is yet to come,
Yeah.
Yeah, is that just for us? Or is that for people
It's
listening?
for everybody
Somebody
listening,
listening?
man. And it's for everybody listening. Yesterday was yesterday, let it go, let it be. Today's today. Let's be thankful. For real.
Amen. We have so much to be grateful for. And like I'm just grateful for you guys being friends over the years and really showing what a true it feels weird to even call it a friendship. It's more like a brotherhood that you guys
For
have.
sure.
And it's such a blessing to be a part of it, but also to witness it, that brotherhood between you guys.
And just sort of over the years, it's been like just a perfect nudge when we need it, the perfect text, and hey, let
Always.
me say what's up. Let me send them a message and
It's always at the right
checking in.
time.
No, it is like synchronistic.
Yeah.
For sure.
And hey to Tasha. She couldn't be here today,
Oh,
but we miss her.
love you, babe.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with us. Again, we're going to plug the retreat that we have coming up
October 2nd through the 5th. Yes.
And we're going to be in Anderson, South Carolina. If you guys would like to come, check that out. Also, if you'd like to support our work, we are on Patreon. There's perks and stuff that you get there. We also have our Seer School community at seer.school. So go to seer.school for information on this stuff and to get tickets for the retreat and keep up with us.
And thank you for all the support and the nice comments and the finances. We're grateful for every piece of it, every bit of what you guys do for us, and hope that we can reciprocate some of that for you guys as well.
If you want to know more about Drew or follow his journey a little bit more, he's on Facebook and all
Come
that
find
stuff.
me. I'm like
But
John Cena. You can't see me.
but we'll also post in the description like a link to his book if you're interested. You can check out his book and what else was there? There's the book. I feel like there was one more thing.
What's the name of that music?
The song,
No, the genre.
Rhythm.
Rhythm. Go check it out. I just learned what it was.
Me too.
Yeah. So here's a quick Easter egg for those who listen to TruthSeekah's music. is that on the song Imaginatrix, there's a long outro where Terrence McKenna is sharing, and there's like some weird noises and stuff. And if you listen closely after Terrence McKenna, there's a session with Drew from a moment that me and Drew had that I pulled out my camera and started filming back in probably 2014.
It's been a while, yeah.
2013.
2014.
And that I recorded it and found a perfect song, a perfect place to put it. And Drew is featured on that song. Just some of his flowetry.
Flowetry.
It wasn't poetry.
I like
but
it.
you were flowing, so it was flowetry.
I
I'll
like
go
that.
with that.
So there's
I
a
like
little
it.
bit of lore for the music heads. I wonder who that was. I know what it was. The other thing was a podcast that we did together. So we did do a podcast years ago.
Go check that out.
that
The
just-
Alchemist. Or,
Yeah, something like. Well, it was named after a Terrence McKenna documentary. Something,
Making of the Alchemy or something.
some kind of the alchemy of I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but if you look up Drew Gower, TruthSeekah, you'll find it. So thanks for hanging out with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Love you.
Peace. Hey, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I want you to know that there is a video right here that you can watch a video right by me. Click this video.
No, don't click his video. Click my video. His video is probably about demons and dark stuff anyways. Mine's probably about angels and awesome stuff.
She has a point. So you decide, the demon or the angel. What do you go with?